In this week's In Conversation With, it's really going to be just me talking to myself. I am going to have some guests joining me later on, but I wanted to make this week's conversation about the Evolving HR conference that's happening later this year. I call it a conference. I don't know if that's the most accurate word to describe it, if I'm completely honest. So this will be the third year that I've run an Evolving HR event, an in-person event. My original idea, which some of you will already know, was it came to me in a hot tub in Austin, Texas, when I was over there for the Work Human conference with Kelly Swingler, Sam Eaton, and Michelle Hartley back in April 2024. And whilst the majority of the speakers that we saw while we were there were excellent, and it was a really, really good event, I got frustrated one afternoon because there were a couple of speakers who were just selling from the stage, and it didn't feel particularly useful to me. It didn't feel like information that I wanted to absorb or anything that I was going to take anything away from. And I made a throwaway comment to Kelly in the hot tub later that evening and said, one of these days, I'm going to put on my own HR event and it's going to be different. It's not going to have people selling from the stage. It's not going to be about that. I just want to do something where people can come and learn and, find out new things, but also be entertained. And Kelly just looked at me and said, okay, when are you going to do it then? And I said, oh, I don't know, sometime in the future. She said, no, which year are you going to do it? And I said, well, I could do one this year. And she said, which month? When are you going to do it? And I said, November, which I just plucked out of the sky. Anyway, I picked a date. I think it was the 20th of November, 2024. And then she said, where are you going to do it? And I just plucked Manchester out of the sky. Anyway, the rest is history. I think I had sent out a hold the date to most of my mailing list before I even left that trip to Austin. And the first Evolving HR conference went ahead in Manchester later that year. Then last year we took it to Bristol, made it bigger. I think we had 180 people in the room last year. And this year I'm going back to Manchester again. There's a couple of reasons for that. I feel like everybody does things in London, and although I'm a Londoner, I didn't want to do London necessarily. I fancied doing something elsewhere in the country. And actually Manchester made it really accessible for so many more people because a lot of the Scots came down because it's not quite such a mission from a travel perspective as going to London. Although bless them, some of them still came to Bristol last year, and that was, I think one lady spent 11 hours on a train from Aberdeenshire, which is just crazy. Anyway, so this year we are back in Manchester and back at the same venue, the Victoria Warehouse, and it's taking place on Thursday, the 19th of November, which not only is that also my dad's birthday, it's also International Men's Day. Wasn't intentional, but a Thursday is a good day for one of these things, I think, because then, if you stay for a few drinks afterwards, you've only got to get through Friday until it's the weekend. So the other reason for going back to the same venue is it's got a smaller capacity than Bristol did. And as much as Bristol was brilliant, it was a heck of a lot of people I was looking out at when I got on stage that morning. And whilst there's an argument that you can continue to make these types of events bigger each year, I didn't really want to do that. I feel like 150 is about the right kind of size, and the venue lent itself perfectly to an event of that size. So that's what we're doing. We're going back to Manchester. I have got 2 people emceeing for us this year. So Toby's done the emceeing for the last 2 years, Toby Kang. But this year he's going to be joined by Jay Unwin. And they're going to kind of, they're going to do a double MC thing. Again, a couple of reasons for that. I mean, most of you will know Jay. If you've been to either of the previous events, Jay was the speaker in 2024 who stage dived, and which I did not know he was going to do until it happened. And he also did the wrestling skit with Toby in Bristol last year. So Jay and Toby have both been involved from day one. I think it's a heck of a day for whoever is emceeing. And I know Toby didn't really get a minute to stop. So the idea of splitting it between them means that neither of them will have to be kind of on stage all day. I have a full lineup already booked. I got it sorted really early this year. So we've got 3 speakers. So Carolyn Hobday. I have been speaking to Carolyn for over a year about potentially speaking at an Evolving HR event. So for those of you that don't know, Carolyn wrote a book called All the Twats I Met Along the Way. And she does a lot of leadership training. She calls herself a former twat, which I find hilarious. She's going to come on and do one of these conversations with me in a few weeks' time. So you'll be able to meet her before the event. But the name of her talk, she's already told me, is going to be From Leadership to Leadership, which I feel is very aligned with the whole Evolving HR brand of being honest and open and authentic, and whatever that looks like. So I'm really excited to hear from Carolyn on the day. We've then got a lady called EJ McDougall, who is just a powerhouse. So I have watched EJ's TED Talk. I can highly recommend it. If you want to get a flavor of what EJ is going to be like when she speaks to us in November, then watch her TED Talk. I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the description below so you can have a look. But EJ is she's a professional speaker. She is a justice of the peace. She is employment law expert. She's got credentials to die for and is a phenomenal speaker. So I'm very excited to have her on board as well. And then the third speaker we've got, I saw him speak in Dublin last year. I was bizarrely at a Boots Number 7 event in Dublin. And he spoke, and he is a sleep expert. His name's Tom Coleman. And I was just blown away by him when he spoke at that event. And I approached him at the drinks afterwards and said, it won't be this year, but I have an event that I run in the UK, and I would love for you to speak at the 2026 one. And I think at the time he probably thought, yeah, sure, right, I'll never hear from her again. But as soon as I started thinking about this year's lineup, he was one of the first people I called. So Tom is coming over from Dublin to speak to us, and he, like I said, he's a sleep expert, and I've seen him speak before. I'm very excited to see him speak again. He's also going to be joining me for one of these conversations. I'm going to try and get all of the speakers and storytellers in for a chat like we've done on LinkedIn Live in the past, but I'm just going to record them and, put them out on YouTube instead this year. And then I think another person that I'm incredibly excited to have booked for this event is Auntie Ginger. Pretty sure that we're going to be the first HR event to have a drag act. Now, one of the reasons I approached Auntie Ginger was because in her day job, she is Tom Henderson Griffiths, who has been an HR consultant for almost 20 years. And it just seemed like too good an opportunity to miss, to be able to combine that HR knowledge with the drag side of things. So Auntie Ginger is going to do the post-lunch comedy slot for us. So we've had Emma Jamil do that the last couple of years. Emma's doing something different this year. Auntie Ginger will be taking that post-lunch comedy slot. And she's also going to come back for us at the end of the day with more of a kind of musical number before we adjourn for drinks at the end of the day. So those are my kind of main stage, as it were, acts for the event this year. We're bringing back the storyteller sessions that we've done the previous 2 years, and the Unheard Voices that we did last year in Bristol. Just absolutely loved that whole concept of giving a platform to somebody who wouldn't normally get a chance to speak at an event like this. So we've got several lined up. We haven't quite, at the date of recording this is end of April, and we haven't quite got all of the storytellers yet, but we've got most of them. And I'm joined now by Dahlia Mukherji, who is going to be one of our Unheard Voices. Dahlia and I go back quite a few years in terms of having been connected on social media, and I've seen her go through that transition from very senior HR, DEI professional to setting up on her own not even a year ago now, towards the end of 2025. So I don't know what Dahlia is going to speak about yet, but she is going to do a 5-minute storytelling session for us. So I am delighted to introduce her now, and we'll have a conversation about why she said she'd do this and what she's going to be talking about. Dahlia, hello. Thank you for joining me.
Hey.
I already did a little intro about you before you joined. My plan is to edit this seamlessly so that it looks like you just miraculously appeared. But I don't have any editing skills, so it'll be interesting to see how it actually turns out. Anywho, all I said in my intro was that you and I have been connected for a long time, but only really started chatting regularly in about the last 18 months or so. And now that you're kind of doing your own thing, no longer employed, you've really niched down into a topic of interest that you focused your business on. And so that was one of the reasons that I thought of you when I was kind of putting storytellers together. So I approached you. You were one of the first people I approached to be a storyteller this year. And you said yes without hesitation. Why?
Wow, it's easy. There's lots of reasons, but I'm going to try and simplify them. Well, one, it's you. I know who you are. I know a lot about you.
Oh, bless you.
It was an easy yes. But on the more conference side, evolving HR conferences are unlike any other conference you ever can attend.
That's the hope.
You learn, but you learn as a human, not as a HR professional in the same capacity. You know, it's not all grey, suited and booted, boring. Feels like I want to stab my eyes. But
I might turn up in a grey suit this year just to surprise everybody. No offence to people that enjoy a grey suit.
Yes, you can pull it off. Fine. Just don't have the grey personality.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's not about the clothes, it's about the vibe that goes with it. Yeah,
completely. I mean, last year, I loved last year's event so much, and it was just great energy, lots of laughs, lots of learning, lots of connections. It was brilliant. I enjoyed it so much, so it was an easy yes.
Oh, I love that. I mean, that's my hope. You know, I get that it's unconventional. I'm unconventional. I was trying to create something that was as much for the individuals doing the HR work as it is about the HR work. And I feel like I've got that balance right. And yes, I still want people to learn, because partially I still want you all to be able to go to your organizations and say, will you pay for this ticket for me? So that you don't have to fund yourself. But it was that combination, like learning doesn't have to be boring. So let's not make it boring, and let's mix in some entertainment as well. So it just feels like a fun but interesting day out. And I feel like I pulled that off the last 2 years. So now you're going to have to entertain the crowd this year. No, but that's not fair. So we are still months out from the event. Have you given much thought to what you want to cover?
Oh, yes. I even had it down to the crazy title. So my session is going to be about embracing the weird, the unleashing of Dahlia.
Oh, I love that.
It's very much going to be about how I found my way, I suppose, and what's helped me get to the point where I'm so self-aware of what gives me energy, what makes me tick, what makes me feel, really ignites my passion, and what drains me. And spreadsheets and budgets and long range models and succession planning, and they just don't make me tick. I don't think there's the value. And the storytelling session really is going to be about how I ignited the fire within me by focusing on the things that I think are most important and fundamental, which is the human, the basics of being a human, but also what makes us unique. Not everybody's the same. Even if you are in the same boxes, that's fine, but that doesn't mean you're two of the same people. So getting people to really recognize individuality, whatever that is.
I mean, that's so aligned with what Evolving HR is all about. It's like, you'd think you knew me. It's the individuality piece is massive for me. Yeah. It goes so far beyond me saying there's no one size fits all. It's so much more than that. Being able to be yourself at work is not something that many of us are afforded. Or it just, I don't know, I feel like it's getting a little better, but there are a lot of the people that enjoy Evolving HR events are people who at some point in their life have felt like they can't be themselves or haven't felt safe to be themselves for so many different reasons. And I love that you're going to be speaking to that as well. It's such a mix, isn't it? Somebody said to me last year that I'd managed to kind of bring together all of the sort of misfits and alternative people, and there are people and that's fine by me. I mean, there are people who've suffered much more hardship than I have because of who they are. There are people who have had, racist, homophobic, sexist behavior towards them. I can only claim having sexist behavior towards me. I'm a white straight woman. I'm very aware of that privilege. But I love the fact that Evolving has tried to make everybody feel welcome and seems to have succeeded in that. But we do have there's a lot of neurodivergent folk and LGBTQ plus folk, and just people for people with different brains and different lives and different aspects of their personality and who they are. And I think that's my biggest source of pride, is ensuring that everybody feels welcome and that they're able to show up as themselves. So, I love that that's what you're covering. I think that's awesome. That's going to be just like spot on. How do you feel about the 5-minute format? That's going
to be interesting. But I've got plenty of time to think about that, because it's something I feel so passionate about. It's going to be really hard to cram it in. But my focus, very much so in that 5 minutes, is I don't want to necessarily focus on any of the challenges that I've had throughout my life. Actually, I want to focus on what makes me who I am today. What were the steps that I took? What was the support that I received? And who I am today. Hence the Unleashing Dahlia, because it's been quite a journey of lots of learning. And you mentioned all the different prejudices, for example. As you know, I'm half Egyptian, half Irish, married to a man who is half Indian. People don't, the number of times I've turned up somewhere and I was expecting a little Indian woman. Well, here I am, and on top of that, neurodivergent and a woman and a bit crazy, and ADHD and. But ultimately, all of those things have contributed to who I am today. And one of the things I love, just re-emphasizing, one of the things I love about the Evolving HR conference is I feel like I'm in a room of a few hundred people who are like me. When I say like me, I mean different, challenging, unafraid. It's tough. It is bloody tough being in HR.
I think it starts with making people feel comfortable, because that's when confidence comes. And then once you've got confidence, then you can start to challenge and you can start to, push yourself outside of your comfort zone and that sort of thing. So Dahlia, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll probably get you in again closer to the date and have another chat about this. But thank you. And can't wait to see what you've got in store for us in November.
Me too. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Another of our Unheard Voices is joining me today. And this is somebody that I met at the Bristol event last year. I hadn't come across his name before. He was invited to the event by his mentor at the time, who is one of our evolving HR providers. And I got chatting to him, funnily enough, over drinks that evening. And we've become firm friends since. But I thought his would be a really interesting perspective to bring to the event. So I asked him if he fancied being one of our Unheard Voices this year, and he said yes. So now I'm going to introduce you to Charlie Mears, one of our Unheard Voices. Charlie, hello, and thank you for joining me for this conversation today. How are you doing?
I'm good. The pleasure's all yours as always, Kirsty.
Thank you, my love. Nice to see that you live in the same house as Dahlia, who was here. You don't know this, but Dahlia was here earlier, and same house, same grand piano.
Oh my God, you should see it when we do a duo.
Do you play?
Yeah, very well. Grade 8 and everything.
Yeah, not surprised. So I was just saying to our lovely audience in my intro about you that we only met for the first time in the bar at Bristol after last year's conference, didn't we?
Says it all, really, in the bar at Bristol.
Kind of does. I think it was quite late on in the evening as well. But I remember, I think I said this to you at the time, that I had seen your name on the ticket list and I didn't know who you were. I mean, I know several of the people that go to the conference, but there are always names that I don't recognize, and yours was one of them. How did you even hear about it? What made you come along, and did you enjoy it?
No, it was terrible.
All the questions
back this year.
Thank you.
So my mentor, who I worked with last year, Stephen, he had worked on it with you. I think he's one of your providers.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I was talking about wanting to get out there, but not really wanting to go to a CIPD conference. Can I say that out loud?
You can.
Because I just can't. As you know now, that I'm just not your kind of traditional HR, which is why we get on so well. And he was like, you should 100% get your person here. Like, you need to come here and go to this conference. I was like, fine, deep dive it. Didn't know anybody, hadn't even actually met Stephen in person before that event, and yeah, that's when we first met in person, so that's why I ended up coming.
So you didn't know anyone in Bristol?
No, not a single person. So yeah, so I literally didn't know anybody, and it was my first conference, which was wild. And I was still like fairly junior in HR then, so like the idea of networking and kind of going and talking to strangers was bizarre, but yeah,
you did okay at that though.
A few wines. No, it was great. And do you know what, actually, not only do I, obviously you and I stay in touch now, there's so many more people as well. I mean, definitely people that I know are going to be here this year again. I think there's probably at least 3, 4, maybe 5 people that I'm still in touch with, and I'm looking forward to having a glass of wine with in November.
Have you been to any other HR events since that one, or is it still the only one you've been to?
Have I? Do you know, I've been to one of your other events.
Indeed.
So I did actually go to a breakfast a few weeks ago in London. And to be honest, that was a very similar vibe. I say similar vibe, nothing similar to your conference, Kirsty, but in terms of the type of people that were there, in that they were like very forward thinking and kind of like progressive in nature.
Was that the PX one?
Oh, and I've done that one.
I was going to say, you went to that.
Yeah, so I've done that as well. So that's also, yeah, that one. So I actually have done a few, a couple this year already. But no, the one I was referring to was like just a morning breakfast thing with,
Gotcha.
It was like a CPO and somebody from like a recruitment company kind of come together to do like what we can do in HR with AI, which was really interesting. Actually, I'm going for wine with somebody I met there yesterday. There's a bit of a common theme here, isn't there?
There is indeed, and it is wine. Yes. So I asked you if you would be one of our storytellers this year. And you were kind of fairly quick yes, but it wasn't immediate. But you did agree to it. You have agreed to it, and you are going to do it. How do you feel about it now that it's been a couple of months? I mean, the event is obviously still nearly 7 months away, but are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward. There was no way that I was ever going to say no, to be honest. Like,
Right.
if in fairness, I did think about it and I was like, but it was less about do I want to do it and much more about who wants to listen to what I have to say, to be completely honest. And then like I spoke to, like I said, I was never going to say no. And then I spoke to a few people that I work with and here in my network and stuff. And I was like, what do you think people want to hear? And they was like, everybody has so many different interests that I'm sure you can find something. So I'm still finding that something. I have a few ideas up my sleeve about what that might look like. But yeah, I am definitely really excited about it.
I am. I mean, one of the reasons I asked you is it's, I'm 52. We joke about this. I think I'm the same age as your parents. And most of the people that I mix with are a similar kind of age group to me. I really love the idea of having a younger HR professional's perspective, because you're mid-20s. Is that fair to say? I'm not going to say, I won't like share your age, but you're mid-20s. You've been working in HR now for how long?
About 6-ish years in total.
Okay.
5 years, yeah.
You've seen a completely different HR, I would imagine, than I did when I was your age. And so, I'm very aware that the HR is very heavily white, middle-class, straight women, of which I am one. And so just thought it would be, I just want to try and get some different perspectives, basically. And we do actually have a 19-year-old speaking this year, which is incredible. Yes, we do. But I will get them on another conversation. So I'm not saying that makes you old in comparison, but it's just, I really like that. I mean, would you count yourself as Gen Z?
Joe, I actually don't even know.
On the edge of that?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know where I fit. Story of my life.
I don't know. I wouldn't have thought you were millennials because they're all like in their 30s now, aren't they? I would have thought you are.
Yeah,
Gen Z.
I think I would count as a Gen Z, wouldn't I?
Yeah. So that I always find that so interesting. Just a different perspective, and the world of work that is quite different. It's changed so much over the last 8 million years since I started working that it's I have no doubt that you've got a perspective that you'll bring that will be interesting to the people in the audience. And what I always want is I want people to learn things, listen to interesting information, and also be entertained. And not everybody has to do all three of those things, but that's the combination that I'm kind of looking for. And so I've tried to get like a good mix of different personalities and styles and demographics and all of that, just so that we get a bit of a more rounded day. Because I have been to a multitude of HR events where it's all middle-aged white men, even though it's nearly all women working in HR.
Interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's bizarre. I've seen panels with 5 white men on them, and they're talking about HR. I'm like, you must be the only 5 men in HR, because it's literally. But no, so that's that's where my head was at when I also think that you'll enjoy it. I don't know. I get a sense that you don't mind performing. I don't
know what that says about me. Thanks, Kirsty.
Maybe I mean like a performing seal. I don't mean that. So you said you've got some ideas. I mean, we'll do some sessions for all of the storytellers in the summer. Toby is brilliant at kind of just a little bit of gentle coaching because the 5-minute format it's tricky. It's a lot easier to talk for 25 minutes than it is for 5.
For sure, yeah. And that's actually something I've been considering a lot because, from the conversations you and I have, we never have enough time because we both talk so much. So
True.
how I get anything out in 5 minutes is going to be an absolute miracle in itself. But who knows, maybe we won't get past slide 1. It will on the screen behind me, but whether I do or not is another thing.
That's the additional challenge, isn't it, with the slides going on like automatically behind you. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and I am really grateful to you for saying that you'll do it. I've said this before today when I was talking to Dahlia, like I feel like I'm wishing the year away by being so excited about something that's happening, 4 weeks before Christmas, and we're only in April, for crying out loud. But time does go quite quickly, and it'll be upon us before we know it. And yeah, I'm stoked at the lineup that we've got. I really am. God, I just said stoked. Where did that come from? I never used that word.
It must be because you're talking to me and I'm so young.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really
excited. Note. Thank you for joining me for this. I will probably get you back closer to the event, because I love these little, I'm getting the speakers in a few weeks' time. I'm going to do little chats with each of the speakers and the storytellers and some of the sponsors and stuff as well. But it's really nice, I think, to kind of paint a picture of what people can expect on the day. So yeah, appreciate you giving up your time to speak to me today. Thank you very much. And I have no doubt that we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Kirsty. I look forward to see you in November if I don't see you before.
Oh, you will, I'm sure.
Bye.
In addition to all of our speakers and storytellers this year and the entertainment side of things, I'm introducing a new segment. So one thing I've learned over doing this for the last couple of years is that we all have pretty short attention spans. And so where you've got like a 30 to 40 minute speech, you can see that people sometimes start to get a little restless. So we're making every segment a little shorter this year. I'm also going to build in more table time just for people to chat, because I think I crammed that agenda so full last year in Bristol that I know that people would have liked to have had more time talking to the people that they were on a table with. So in the spirit of short attention spans, we're going to be having 3 pep talks this year. And I have asked Michelle Hartley, Emma Jamil and Sassy Venables to deliver those pep talks. I'm not going to share with you right now what the topics are going to be on, but let's just say they are areas of expertise for each of these ladies. And they are going to be designed to give a real little motivational boost to the people in the room. So I'm quite excited about that. It's something different. We haven't done it before. Some familiar faces that we'll have this year. We're having Andrea back as our photographer. If you've been to one of our previous events, you will probably recall her halfway up a wall or hanging from a pillar trying to get the shots. But she works so hard on the day, but she gets the most amazing shots as a result of that. So there really was no one else I was going to consider as photographer for this event. We're also going to host Metal for Good again as our sponsored charity for the event. So haven't yet quite decided how we're going to do the fundraising for them this year. Last year we had Jo Bailey and her tombola. Jo would like to be involved again, bless her heart. So we're talking about that right now in terms of what are we going to do to raise money for Metal for Good this year. But they have become like a steady presence for us at these events. So I'm really, really thrilled to have them back again. The tickets are already on sale. I've only done a couple of posts about it so far, and I think we've sold more than 50 tickets, which just blows my mind. We've still got over 6 months, 6.5 months to go until the actual event. But I'll put a link to the ticket website in the description below. So if you haven't got yours yet, early birds are still available. But the way I've done it this year is there are a set number of each, and once they've gone, it switches to the general admission price, which is higher than the early bird price. But we've also done a price difference for in-house professionals versus everybody else. So there are early birds that are cheaper for both of those categories. So check out the link, make sure you get your ticket and don't miss out. It will sell out. We've sold out the last 2 years. I've made it smaller than last year. I'm not concerned at all about selling those tickets. It will sell out. So I would highly recommend that you don't leave it to the last minute, because I think we sold out like a month in advance for both of the previous ones. So I don't think there'll be much left by September, October time. That's all I'm going to talk about today. I just wanted to jump in and give everybody a bit of an update, really. So lovely to have met a couple of our storytellers as well. And I will be back in May, where I'm going to introduce some of the speakers to you and have them talk a little bit about what they're going to cover on the day. So anybody got any questions, you know where I am. Drop me a note. If there's something you'd like to see or you've got a question about the event, you know how to get hold of me. But I'm super excited about it. Still over 6 months to go. I feel like I'm wishing the year away by talking about something in November, but it's obviously it's a big deal for Evolving HR. So I'm very excited about it. So I will catch up with you all soon.